And this is how we roll the second trading day of the week forward here on Business Morning. I am Bosin Namafaye. We welcome our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world. The big stories is from the global space. The International Monetary Fund says the global economic recovery will be sluggish as we move into 2020 and lowers the global growth estimate for the current year to 3.3%. That was down slightly from 3.4% when the last global economic outlook was presented in October 2019. The New Year growth, however, according to the head of the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, indicates a modest increase over 2019 global economic growth of 2.9%. So we're doing better in 2020 than in 2019, but that's a bit sluggish. The IMF chief, Georgieva, says we're all adjusting to live with a new normal of higher uncertainty, despite vulnerabilities, factors such as political and social unrests around the world, the recent US-Iran tensions, and the trade war between Washington and Beijing, which is now being readjusted under the phase one of the deal. Meantime, the World Bank issued a new report just as the World Economic Forum for 2020 starts in Davos today, that Nigeria's growth is projected at a weaker 2.1% for the 2020, 2021 and 2022 period. There was no revision to the World Bank's economic outlook for Nigeria and says Africa's largest economy, the economy will remain sluggish between this year and the year 2022 on the back of a softer external demand and lower oil prices and slower than expected oil production by Nigeria because we are yet to put in place the much needed reform in the oil and gas industry. Meantime, the IMF, also the World Bank, says growing uncertainty about the direction of government policies is expected to further dampen the outlook on Nigeria's economy. In other words, policy uncertainty is the biggest challenge Nigeria faces in terms of its economic outlook. So the World Bank says nothing has changed and is keeping its forecast for Nigeria's growth for 2020 to 2022 unchanged at 2.1%. All of this we're coming through yesterday as we start a very busy week with the UK-Africa Investment Summit in London. Of course, everyone is taking flight right now, heading to Davos, the venue of the World Economic Forum for 2020. But just yesterday was quite a very big day in London as the United Kingdom authorities, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, hosted Nigeria and other African states to a very big splash of trade investment deals that are still being reported. Nigeria's Minister for Investment, Trade and Industry, Niyi Adebayo, was there and had a few minutes chat with Juliana Olayinka, who was our correspondent covering that event for you. Take a listen.
It was interesting that when Prime Minister Johnson made his keynote, he alluded to the fact, and he was quite frontal about it, that Britain needs Africa. And that is a very, very important confession on his part. And it shows the seriousness with which the British government is taking this whole thing. And we're hopeful that at the end of this exercise, we will see positive things coming out of it.
What are the kind of areas of interest when it comes to trade? Because we've had the global risk report from the World Economic Summit, which kicks off tomorrow. The environment is huge. You know, even if you're a denier, the establishment have accepted that net zero emissions is the target. How are Nigeria bracing itself for the change in investment in some industries that we were dependent upon?
Well, to be honest, my major focus here at this summit is more on the investment angle. Our major purpose is to try to get people, companies here in the UK to come and invest by setting up companies in Nigeria. You're aware we've signed the Continental Free Trade Agreement, and that has opened up the whole African market, and we believe that Nigeria should take advantage of that, and by getting people to invest in Nigeria, manufacture goods in Nigeria, and have access to the continental market. the whole essence is for jobs to be created. That is why we are taking this route. You've heard the president say it many, many times, and I begin to sound like a parrot because I keep parroting it whenever I'm interviewed. The president is desirous of getting 100 million people out of poverty over the next 10 years. And the easiest and quickest way to do this is by creation of jobs. The easiest way to create jobs, apart from agriculture, is industry. So the more industries that are created, the more investments that come in to set up industries, the more jobs are created. You must remember, yes, there are 20 heads of state here, but you must remember Nigeria is still #1 in Africa. And we are happy with the kind of respect and the kind of way we've been received. Here. And everywhere we've been here, we notice that everybody is desirous of meeting with our president. There are many requests for bilaterals with our president, and we have no doubt. I'm very happy the president is here because his presence here has elicited the kind of results that we were hoping for. So we are confident that at the end of the day, we will get the desired results.
And some of those desired results were some of the deals that's been reported that Nigeria inked at the UK Africa Investment Summit. But the president of the Africa Export-Import Bank, Dr. Benedict Orama, has a few words to say, not just about Africa and looking for new deals, but why Nigeria is very important to this summit and the growth of the continent. Benedict Orama, the president of Afreximbank, is a Nigerian-born head of that agency based in Cairo, Egypt. He was also at the summit yesterday and had a few words with Julian Olayinka.
The energy is palpable, although it's a one-day event, but you can see the level of enthusiasm both among Africans and among the British. There is a feeling that long-lost friends have rediscovered themselves. The Prime Minister, His Excellency Boris Johnson, set the tone, and the President Sisi followed. The recurrent theme in their speeches today was, let's now find a new way. Africa is looking for partners. UK traditionally have been a strong and reliable partner. That partnership waned over the years. It can be revived because Africa is the continent of the future. Nigeria has a long historical link or relationship with the UK. And at independence, Nigeria's trade with the UK, Nigeria's trade with the UK accounted for about 70% of Nigeria's total trade. Today is 3%. Yes, it has collapsed, but it also tells you the opportunity that is there. The links go back not only the years of the colonial relationship, but the education, the way of life, and so on. Nigeria has will have a lot to gain by reviving the trade between Africa and the UK, because the links that are there, the diaspora relationships, will create the opportunities for market penetration in Nigeria and also in the UK. The knowledge of the market will make it easier to manage risks. So I think the British, for some reason, lost concentration in Africa. And now that they are beginning to pay attention again, they will gain. Nigeria will gain because the long relationship is a huge asset that will be the foundation for the benefits I just alluded to.
Benedict Orama, the president of Africa Export-Import Bank. Meantime, the U.S. President Donald Trump is due to speak in Davos, Switzerland, at the opening of the World Economic Forum for 2020. He'll be speaking within the hours we're expecting that speech to touch on the U.S.-China trade relations and the economic focus of the United States. This is a very big one this Tuesday as the world focuses on one of the biggest economic events on planet Earth.